Welcome to Hyperefficient startup number 4. Today we're going to talk about React Router and its friends and how we have solved the problem of unbundling a JavaScript file that we had. So just to remind you of the problem was that we have a file falling.js. It was in SRC. And it was imported from a React component, which was wrapping its contents in a useEffect to integrate the React world with an external system. And while it worked in dev mode, because in dev mode vitejs doesn't bundle stuff, it didn't quite work in the in production or in bundle mode when you run vite build, because obviously it would find falling.js, which is the original file that we were using to draw the ESP2 animation. It would bundle it, and then because of how we import the code, JavaScript code, it wouldn't work, it wouldn't find it because there was no path. Let's open it read-only per tradition. So instead, it turns out that vitejs by default bundles stuff in that special directory public verbatim to be served from dist. You can see that everything that isn't public is included in dist verbatim. This means that if you need to do the useEffect trick from the previous episode to integrate with some legacy system, you can just drop the JavaScript file into public and then include it like this. From your React component. And another thing that I have done during yesterday's work session was I've stepped on my hatred of artificial intelligence and asked it to help me out to scaffold a bunch of files. To do that, I used Aider, which is a tool that that was suggested by one of our Zulip members a long time ago, maybe last year, and I finally got some time to actually try it out. Obviously, it's a Python tool, so it never builds, it never works, but fret not. There is a trick to make it work, which is to use Nix as usual, and I tried packaging it in anger, completely, right? But it didn't work out because sadly, as my friend Domen Kojar says, who is like a very prominent Nix community member, the author of Keshex, he raised to prominence not just by being a Nix evangelist, but also by basically being the person behind Python packages. So the original Python packages from like 2013 to 15 to 16, he was the person who was doing Python packages in Nix. And he was saying that it's basically yak shaving. It's an uphill struggle always to package Python. So yeah, let's have a look at flake.nix. It's very, very simple. It basically just adds a shell hook, the shell hook wrapper around virtual env. And this is a very, very, very generic approach to get some Python package installed. So this flake should be studied for that. There is there was this uncommented. I commented it out. I think this is the difference between my version of this flake and the original version. Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure that's the case. Okay, yeah. So I basically updated it to work with more recent versions of Nix. I set it to follow I set it to follow main branch of Nix packages. Updated the lock, and set it to only support Linux because frankly, I can't test if my software works on macOS, and I don't. So I don't claim it does. If someone wants to bring back macOS support or whatever these architectures are, help yourself. And yeah, we commented this out in part because on modern Nix, I think they have figured out how to wire this through to things. But also another thing is that if I remember correctly, instead of doing this, if you really need zlib and whatever else, you can add it to native build inputs now, and it will configure LD library path correctly. But what I found is that currently, I don't need it, and the way we get this aider tool to work is we just write nix develop. It will not cache. It will not remember that there already exists a thing that is ready to be used. It will just check for requirements, and then it will always re-download aider chat, and it will reinstall it. As you see, it updates the version on every invocation, because again, this is not a real Nix expression. It's not deterministic, which is a bit sad, which means that it will break sometimes, but it's live. So now we have aider chat installed, and we can go to any repository. Then let me hide the screen for a second, because we need to import open API key. Now we can write aider and get dropped into this chat, where it basically can help us out with interesting. Interesting. So here aider will work though. I think this LD library path is needed for repositories which don't contain zlib in their own flake.nix, because as you see, Duran loads local flake.nix native. There's no native build inputs though, which is really interesting. Roast analyzer, rip grab, nice nice indentation here. Maybe CoreUtils somehow gets it. I don't know. But yeah, anyhow, in some cases, you'll get it to work. And then you can basically interact with it as shown here. So as I mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan of what AI can do. But here I tried to do the following. I added our website. So this would trigger web scraping of a website, which is cute. Then I asked it to load the navigation system in memory. And my hope was that it will help me to create a navbar. But then I realized that I should only ask it to basically just scaffold React components and router, which it kind of did. I had to do a bit of manual work because it actually failed to put the text and the source code in the correct files. It would just spam about.tsx with some garbage, or it would spam router.tsx with some garbage when I asked it to make posts components. Which again, this is just scaffolding. Like none of this is actual useful code. Like if we have a look at posts, for example, you see that this is just scaffolded thing. it doesn't, it's meaningless. Here at least it, managed to basically create the post props, interface, blah, blah, blah. And then it managed to create a single argument, a functional component, but it's still meaningless. But I want to say that I think that still this interactivity in creating these files, and it like making boilerplate for me was a really pleasant experience. So I didn't hate it, but I wouldn't bet on it to implement any actual interesting code. I would try it someday more to maybe do some computational geometry, because in ZeroHR we claim that our test tasks are AI proof, in a sense that obviously candidates can use AI to do stuff like this, or to do either like menial stuff that encoding with sometimes have to do, but AI can't solve our tasks. Even with the guidance of a competent person, right? Like the competent person will have to make some decisions rather than just guide the AI to, try harder at solving the task. So yeah, like I'll try this tool a little bit more. Overall, I'm quite impressed. It's when I say that I'm impressed, the asterisk is that it was not able to put the correct source code in the correct file. So it's garbage, right? It's a 7-year-old child will have no problems doing certain things that this tool fails to do. Like we have to understand that. And I was reading some Amazon guy talking about that the coding will be dead in like several years. Let's first understand. Like let's first make sure that our generative AI can count, that can do arithmetics, which 7-year-old children can do correctly all the time. Like 100% of times, a 7-year-old kid will compute 42 plus 3 correctly, you know, which is not true for our modern AI systems, even GPT-4o. And then let's make sure that that if we make, you know, if we make generative AI that is meant to solve problems, let's first make sure that it can place solutions to these problems in the correct places. You know, it's basic, isn't it? And we're decades away from anything that is another, you know, meaningful step towards better AI or professional AI. But even then, we will never achieve general purpose AI. There's actually recently there was a paper about it which proves it mathematically, basically kind of like Gödel's big theorem, and it's fun. It's interesting to see this sort of line of thinking and proofs. Anyhow, so this is at the end of the day, we got this. We got ourselves our little React router, very basic path to element, no big deal. And then we got ourselves main TSX, which just imports router, and then it uses router provider from React-Router-DOM to actually do the routing. And then we have just rebuilt the system here, and we can see that when we go to slash, bro, what the actual fuck? When we go to slash, hold on. Yeah, I don't think I pushed anything because I was actually working on another computer as well, but I don't think my changes were too meaningful. Okay, so what happened here? Okay. I don't know what's going on. Expecting Lua come to get, I don't know, mate, I don't know. Something is happening. I don't know, maybe I have to like exit Vim. Wow, holy smokes. This didn't save the file, okay. I don't know what happened there. Disgusting. Okay, now it kind of redid itself. What the fuck is going on with this file? I think my Vim like glitched out big time. Anyhow, now it will work. Okay, so this is how the router looks, very basic, no rocket science. And then on slash, we get this, and we get our falling objects, maybe today. Okay, it was loading P2S, maybe, I don't know. Really strange. Let's Control F5 again. So we see that the thing initializes, but then it only works after I resize the screen, which is funnily enough another problem to tackle. But yeah, we can get, we can get all the, sorry, it's gonna be blog. We can get all the all the stuff in the world that we had on the previous website. Yeah. And in terms of other stuff, I had some meetings and stuff, some reflections on other businesses, some reflections on our competitors, and how it's great that because there are indirect competitors, right? They're just giving tests to people who work in big companies. How it's great because we can spin, we can piggyback their success, and we can prove to ourselves that this validates that what we're doing is important, at least to big enterprises. I think there was something in general. Mistaken writing yesterday. So this was 27th. Yeah, so I guess yesterday the only thing that I learned more about React, and this is something that I'm planning to do today, which is to create a Zola loader for a vitejs, which is going to be amazing. Is that so? Imagine you have a static page generator, right? Zola, for example, and you run it in watch mode, right? And it will spit out some HTML based on your templates when you write another blog post article. You can actually create a generic React component that will take the contents of an HTML file and set inner HTML of a React component based on that, while preserving all the properties of it disappearing when you unmount it and blah blah blah. So this is all a very nice set of solutions, and I'm very happy about React being open to the use cases that we need, right? It allows us to keep being hyper efficient in terms of our implementation and not refactor the code over a month or whatever, over several weeks, right? It's gonna be probably by Monday I will be done with porting the whole website to a new platform. When you compare it to technologies such as Elm, which is so opinionated, they forbid you to do certain things, which are very, very important for business. React wins by a ton, right? And this is a part of the reason why we choose to use it, because it's so problem oriented and business oriented. It's possible to write it to solve business challenges very, very easily. And as I mentioned here, it's very funny because the example in the documentation is a markdown renderer, and this is exactly what we want to do with this Zola loader. So I'm going to have fun with that, yeah, I guess that's more or less it. Thank you for listening.